Ugh, okay. There's so much coming through already, so I'm just going to jump right into this reading. But the energy when I first tapped in felt super freaking intense. It felt serious, like it kind of felt heavy. Not necessarily bad, but like serious. We're getting down to business, but like almost intimidating energy. Almost like what is ahead of you. Like it's like when you know that you are going to do something that will challenge or test you, maybe. And it's almost that moment when you are pretty much resolved. You're like 90-10, you're basically there. There's still like that little window of like, I might escape though through that open window. But for the most part, you're like, no, I'm doing this thing. And then it switched over and it got really light and like playful and kind of just, I don't know. I guess it was assured and free more. So I feel like it's interesting because the topic of this reading is when your heart's got a tough choice to make. I feel like for a lot of you, this might be super clear, like validation for you, for something that you are basically decided on already. But like I said, there's still that tiny little window where you are like, I just want to know though for sure. Like maybe I need a really clear message from spirit or my higher self just to be like, yes, bitch, before I go off in that direction with all of the passion and the fire in my soul. Because that's the vibe I'm getting. And yeah, it's the Knight of Wands on the split. It's this energy. It's like, that thing has got me lit up. That thing has got me turned on. That thing looks like a sexy new opportunity. And I am like, fuck yeah, I'll be the fool for you, bitch. It's like one of those things where you want it bad enough, then you decide the juice is in fact worth the squeeze to you. And when you take the leap, it's like satisfying and exhilarating, not terrifying, because you're not being pushed off. You're taking the leap from an empowered place. So it feels like there's something that you just, and you're not really stressed about it anymore. You're going towards something despite the intimidation factor. But this spread is designed to bring clarity, compassion, and alignment when you are pulled between options, paths, or people, and especially if your logic and your emotion are not agreeing. So if your head and your heart are having like a bit of a fight, or it seems that they're not on the same page. So we're going to look at what your heart is truly longing for, what each option kind of represents. So what does each option potentially offer you, and what might it also cost you? And then we're going to look at what fear or wound is influencing this decision, what choice aligns ultimately most with your growth and integrity, and also what support do you have or do you need to pull out of yourself to walk this path, the choice that is best for you, because it's not always easy choosing the choice that's best for us. A lot of the time, actually, it's not easy. So at least when we're first starting out, yeah, it's work. So let's get into this. This could be a choice that, for me to say that, this could be something that your heart really does want. And that's why you are quite clear and decided, because it's almost like one of those things. It's coming through as one of those things that you couldn't live with just letting it pass you by. And it's a part of you, I feel like, knows that the weight of that on you is not worth your ego or your stubbornness or your fear or whatever it is that might be holding you back. Even just old programming and conditioning, or a lack of clarity, or a lack of compassion towards yourself, maybe. So yeah, it could be a lot of things, but let's get into this. Let me take a sip of my espresso. I'm also doing this reading. I'm going to post it. This is tomorrow's reading, but I'm doing it like late at night. I guess this is like later today's reading technically. But I felt called to do this one at night, and I feel like there is an element of intimacy about this. Like, it's not a light heart choice necessarily. Like I said, I started when I came into the energy, it was intense and like robust. I don't know how to explain it. There was a lot to it, and it felt like it all was important. Like all of it needed to be honored. So there is something here that carries weight. It is indeed a tough choice to make. And not necessarily because there's a right and wrong, but because either path, I feel like, would, like, I'm channeling, this is something that's already changed you. It's already touched your heart enough to give it that choice to make. It has influenced it and changed you for the better, ultimately. Even if this has been painful, a lot of the time that's how change happens. But yeah, there's a lot just kind of coming through. You might be very tuned in emotionally and intuitively at this time. You might be quite in your feminine energy, but I feel like you're shifting gears. Like you're maybe putting your masculine and your more outward asserting energy because you're about to take action, I feel, and really stand in your truth and your sovereignty and express yourself and go for something that you know you want. But right now, while you are making this choice and really like redefining or setting into place the framework around it, the why behind what you are doing, you're reminding yourself of that because it is a choice that has a lot of implications. So if this is coming together with someone, for instance, like in a relational sort of way, in some sort of intimate way, whether that is getting close to a family member or letting a family member close to you again if you've been somewhat estranged, or whether that is going from being single or casually dating into the kind of relationship that you genuinely want to spend the rest of your life with this person, sort of thing, right? There are things that then need to be considered, and there will always be compromises that need to be made to meet in the middle. But it depends how you frame it too. And I think that's what you're looking at now, because you can look at it as like difficult work that's going to just cause you pain in the end anyways. And you shouldn't take a risk and you shouldn't put yourself out there because it's always, going to be destructive and you'll never get what you want. Or you could say, no matter what way it goes, you are doing the work, right? Like it's showing you so much about yourself. And one way you're not listening to your desire and your inspiration and what your heart and soul is actually calling you to, your body, they're saying too. So I guess your body, heart, and soul are all pulling you towards this person or this experience or opportunity. Okay, let's get into the actual reading. Just so much is every time I go to start, more stuff channels through. So yeah, you could be in your intuitive space a lot right now. So what your heart is truly longing for, the core emotional or soul level desire behind this decision. The Three of Pentacles works. You want to come together You want to come together with something and cooperate with it, and you want it to run smoothly. You don't want there to be hiccups. You want it to feel natural and aligned, like things coming together with the same intention, clear and direct communication. This is what we're doing. We both want it for the same reasons. We're on the same page. Okay, let's go. And then there is no more questioning. It's grounded. It's a solid foundation. It's trustworthy. You don't have to question it. You can build to the, once you get past the Three of Pentacles, you can pretty much build to the Ten of Pentacles in a very effective way. Because I feel like the indecision is ultimately the most difficult part, even more difficult than climbing back from any like minor loss or setback. But the Three of Pentacles is where it really comes together, because you know very clearly what you want. And not only that, you have tools, or you have some sort of union in front of you with someone that has the same vision or something that supports your vision. And it just works. So that is what your heart is truly longing for. So maybe you in the past have had, you've invested a lot of your time and energy. Yeah, and I am seeing that you're a very valuable asset, like person. Not that, well, maybe people have just viewed you as an asset in the past. Maybe people have kind of used you. You feel like the kind of person that always shows up. You are reliable. And when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And people may have, I don't know, I'm getting this taking advantage of you sort of energy, or just seeing you for what you do for them. And I feel like it's because you do so much for people, but that's not fair, right? It's like you are a person. You are a person that has your own desires and needs. And with the Three of Pentacles, it's like it's equal parts coming together to create something very strong, like three sides of the triangle, a super strong structure, the pyramid, the triangle, right? So parts coming together, and it could be you, someone else, and spirit. Something is sacred, a sacred bond, very strong foundation to build a legacy or a family on. The Three of Pentacles is also the like really good sex card as well for me as a reader personally, because the Three of Pentacles represents certain parts or ingredients or people coming together to create something. And then they both put all of themselves into it, and it's the best possible outcome. So it's like really good physical connection as well. With the Three of Pentacles, it's like everything works. Everything just flows naturally. All elements of the partnership. Okay. Anything else about that? Do we need anything else about this? Let's see. Yeah, there's a physical element of attraction here that I feel, but it's not shallow. It's like, it's very, I don't know. It's weird. It's almost like a sacred, I'm trying to find the words for it, but feels like divine arousal or sacred arousal or something. The type of thing that it's like it turns your soul on, but then all of you are encompassed in that. So that's what I'm seeing for what you actually are longing for on a deep level. So you have these two options. Well, there may be more than two options, but this is probably like choose something or don't, right? So whatever the two main options will be, we're going to look at what that option would offer you or how it would support you, and then also what it might cost you, since there's two sides to every coin. And then you can compare and contrast from there and make your own choice, okay? So this is going to be option A on this side, and this is option B. So what is this offering you? The Ten of Wands, burden and sweetness in reverse. Okay. looking good so far. What might it cost? The Knight of Swords, determination and caution. Okay. But this, okay, so this is very interesting because it feels very much like a disconnected energy. And it's partially because of just exhaustion, like being worn down to the point that it's like when you get so tired that you're like, I'm not even going to fight anymore. You know what I mean? Like with a person, you're like, I'll just say whatever I have to say to end this argument because I'm exhausted and I don't even care anymore. You know what I mean? But it takes a lot to get you to that point. And so, but I see you getting to that point with whatever this option is. And there's a you're not connected so much to empathy here anymore. And again, it's just because you are so tired or you're so worn down by the bullshit that has transpired that you're just like, at this point, I'm having a hard time relating to you or remembering why I ever, you know what I mean? This energy just, it feels a little bit heavy. So I won't lie, but I want to know why though that is. Why is that something that, like if this is a connection to, let's frame it like in maybe specific terms too, then this would be something where, yeah, you don't feel truly seen, respected, honored, supported. Like there's a lack of recognition in the areas that really matter. So not just how you take out the trash every day or you don't, but like something deeper than that. Like heart and soul level kind of, I see you as a human and I am here for you. That's missing. So it just feels like obligation and burden. Like there's no sweetness in it. So then it's just weight. So it kind of feels like you would end up maybe feeling like, because this is what it is offering you. I don't like it. It's like you're constantly feeling at a breaking point because there is very little break from the burden. Like there might be little, I don't know, it just feels like superficial validation though, because again, it's not validation that's seeing you deeply, so then it's not striking you deeply. So yeah. Then down here, this is an aspect of you. It's like an element of your personality, or it's an archetype, right, that is within you here. The Prince of Swords or the Knight of Swords. Determination. And with caution here, like these together, it feels like you're a very intelligent and curious person, and you're determined to find the truth. And when you have the answers, you move with a certain level of confidence because you are intelligent, like because you know that you know, and you very much trust yourself from that point. But I feel like this is saying what this might cost you is that you become overly cautious. I don't know why that is exactly. Tell me why. Like, I feel like it's because you stop trusting yourself. And so I'm almost wondering if there is a little bit of like gaslighting or something going on. Because then you kind of start questioning your own reality, you don't trust yourself anymore. Essentially, you start kind of going a little bit crazy or wondering if you are crazy. you start questioning things that you used to just be assured with. There's something here that is, you're healing it, or you will. But being in this situation is like something that rubs salt in a wound. And so then it's not healing. And I feel like it's because nothing is changing. So that's why there's this perpetual feeling of being at a breaking point, like constantly feeling like I cannot do this anymore. But then somehow you keep on doing it, but you're just exhausted. And man, I've totally been in this space before, which is why I get it. And it, honestly, it does not feel, honestly, the way you survive this is you stop feeling. That's kind of the only way. And I think that's what this energy is. It's like you ultimately, your own sweetness is drained under the weight of this, because that is, it's like a protection mechanism at some point. And that's why I feel like there might be some manipulation here, or like, I don't know, emotional or psychological abuse, maybe. But only take that if you know that that is, like, you know your situation. But this looks like the effects of something like that on a person. So whatever it is, there's an imbalance in the give and the take here. And there's also a wound that does not heal. And it could be a very deep wound, like a child, an inner child wound, or like an original wound. So maybe an abandonment, or a stability wound, like where you didn't feel safe or seen, or like loved for who you are. It's like maybe you felt you had to be someone that you weren't in order to gain love that was not just given to you the way that it should have been. But there's some wound here that is kind of very connected to this situation. And it's interesting. It's coming through almost as something that is keeping you in the situation, but also the thing that, the reason why it's so important to get out of the situation or not go this direction to begin with. Because it's something that you are almost what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you're primed for this, but not in a good way, from like a wounded space. This would be something that you would be tempted to move towards, or just naturally you might feel pulled to it, but for the wrong reasons, it looks like. So it's something that might be comfortable for you, but not healthy. So I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm assuming that you know what option A entails for you, what that is. But that's the energy I'm getting off of that choice, okay? That route, what it will offer you and what it might cost you. But it feels like it costs you quite a bit, because there are things that you know, and you start questioning them, and you start moving very cautiously as a result, where you used to feel confident. And this is a part of yourself that is important to you. It gives you a lot of drive and determination in life, I feel like. It's a really positive element of you. So yeah, all of these things that are kind of drained by this path are all very beautiful and positive elements of you. So just take that into consideration, okay? So I'd hate to see you, yeah. These are parts of you that deserve to be nurtured and seen and honored and all that good stuff. Okay, so option B, path number 2. Let's look at this side of things. Okay. This is what it can offer you. All right. So far, so good. And then what it might cost you. Okay. Okay, well, I love this. So I see why, you know how at the beginning I was saying the energy felt like you were very decided basically already, like you already knew pretty much 100% what you were going to do. You were just kind of looking for one last, like, I don't know, a little bit of extra validation to support the choice that you've already kind of made. I can see why I was picking that up, because these two choices are they have very different, almost like mirrored opposite implications. Yeah, it's coming through as really kind of black and white, like almost karmic in its like sense of severity. I mean, so what is karma? It's just literally action and reaction, right? Every action, there's a consequence to it. Karma's neutral if you want to even think of it as karma, but it's just basically like you do something and something else happens that is a consequence to what you did. And this feels like this path, the consequence is heavy. And this path, the consequence is, this path is still this path will challenge you, but it will also bring balance and peace to your life. It's like, this is something where it's worth being challenged. And this is just carrying weight for no reason and having the life like slowly drained out of you. Yeah, this actually gives something back, right? It's the kind of investment I feel like that you get to the end of it and you feel very proud of yourself. You're like, I'm glad I did that. I learned so much about myself through that. I proved something to myself through that. Like, I feel capable. My heart has opened. I like this a lot. So this is what it might offer you. The Tower in reverse, and then balance. Well, it's very gentle energy, because the Tower is connected to Mars, and Mars, the planet of war and aggression and assertion and masculine, like outward facing energy, fiery energy, action. So this in reverse with balance and the green, like the heart and growth based sort of energy. It is very non-violent. It's very peaceful. It's gentle and soft, and it kind of flies in the face of this needing to be in fight or flight, or being in a constant state of, it's almost like a constant triggered state or a fear of what is about to happen, like walking on eggshells, almost that feeling. But it's because things are constantly falling apart if you're in the state of the Tower. Okay, so what it offers you. Is there anything else about what it offers we need to know? But that is just coming through so peaceful. Honestly, it feels very soothing energy, soothing to the heart, soothing like to the nervous system. Even I feel like more relaxed right now energetically. So I think that's straightforward. I don't think that there's anything else about that. But what it could potentially cost you: 5 of Wands, competition in reverse with mystery. There's a sense of surrender here that would be absolutely required. Because this is something that would change you for the better, but you'd have to be open to being changed. There's this quote that I'm channeling. What is it exactly, though? It's something like, to be in love is to say, I am willing to be destroyed by you, or something like that. Because that's always a possibility, right? Like, there's always this wild, like, love is not safe, right? Love is not, it's not safe. That you can't dictate the actions of another person. You can't even say for sure, for certain, because change is the only constant, that you won't change your mind or that things will be easy. You can't guarantee anything. And so there's something here where you would have to surrender. You'd have to be like, well, I'm opening my heart, and if I'm going to fuck around and find out, but in the best way possible. So the Five of Wands in reverse is like, you must lay down your sword here. Any defenses that you have, it can't be a competition. It can't be, there can't be a part of you that is like, if this is a relationship, that is wondering if you're in bed with the enemy, or like not in full support, like not a team. It's not about competition. It's about complementing. So you can't be for someone and against them at the same time. So it's like you choose. Then it's not about not choosing yourself anymore. It's about realizing that when you choose them, you are choosing yourself, because you are a balance. Like, you are a balanced team, and it's coming from the heart. So it's also not just like transactionary. It's not just like, okay, you gave me that, I give you this, and that's the balance. It's not that, because that's not love. That's conditional, right? So, but there's something here where it's like, you must surrender to the mystery and just leap in. And flow and allow yourself to be changed. Anything else about that? But yeah, this is like, take off your armor, take off your masks, lay down your shield and your weapons, you know. It's like in the movies when there's an action movie and there's a scene where one of them gets caught or something, and then they're like, hand over all your weapons, and they take out like 12 guns from all different places. You know what I mean? Their like underwear and like all these different things. It's like that. I feel like for some reason you've got a lot of weapons, or you've got a lot of, it's like safety mechanisms, protection mechanisms is what it's coming through for me. So I think that means you've seen a lot of shit, you know, unfortunately, because that doesn't just come from nowhere. You don't just carry around a bunch of weapons for no reason. There's a reason. There was a point when you did have to fight, or else you wouldn't have the weapons. So the unknown can trigger you, because you don't know what you're going to find there. And sometimes we even choose something heavy because it is what's known. It's like, okay, this is safer than the unknown, because who knows what is out there. And this at least is reliable, and I know exactly what to expect. And that, in a way, is not as scary as that. But it is when you look at it zoomed out like this, and what it costs you. Right? Because that is a lot. This is putting you more in the red every day. And the stock market is not, like, it's not shifting, you know? And this, in contrast, is just, it's leading you home to yourself every day when you go out into the world and get pulled away from yourself. Whereas this is pulling you apart at the seams to the point where you're barely functioning. So I don't know what your world outside of this looks like, because it's almost like it's showing me that your world becomes very small. This almost becomes all of it. It's like shrinking. You are shrinking. It shrinks you because you're under the weight of this burden here. And this balances you. It's not that it makes you, right? But it supports you in such a way that you become your best self. You make yourself your best self. And that doesn't mean you're perfect, but it means you're balanced, you're thriving, you're confident, you are present and experiencing life and expressing life, enjoying life. It just feels very, I don't know, it feels very free. So I like that. And I feel that this is not something from the past that has, I don't know, it doesn't really feel like this is something that has marred you or taken from you or wounded you. And that doesn't mean it has been, again, perfect or not difficult or challenging or even competitive at some points. Like ego could have been involved here. There still could have been moments of, I don't know, frustration is coming through a bit there. But I feel like that's kind of what it was. It was frustration in seeking the balance maybe. And I don't know. There's something about that here though. There has been frustration, but I don't know, what is that surrounding? Because it's almost saying this is, it's like avoiding a tower by picking this side. That is what it gives you. It gives you no tower, but balance instead. So again, it's black and white in contrast. I think that's what's kind of wanting to be really highlighted here. That's important. I don't know why they're well, yeah, because the consequences are very, like I'm saying, they're really highlighting. The consequences are very, very different for each side. The karma, the consequences, the reaction to the choices, they're going to lead you. These are two very, very different paths. So if you know what you're trying to build, ultimately, what is your vision? And you know this, then you know what is the fit, like what will actually feel this way, what will actually bring you this, what can you actually, in reality, build this with, or who can you build this with, or where can you build this, under what conditions, you know, what is just, what is fair and balanced and abundant and true for you, without any pressure or influence from anything outside of you and your spirit that knows what that is. Okay, and then after, once you know the answer clearly, you can figure out why there might be something influencing you or making you think that you should make that choice from anywhere other than just your seed of truth and like what you absolutely know is best for you from a non-selfish place, but from a place where you're respecting and honoring yourself and loving yourself. So what fear or wound is influencing this decision? This is getting pretty deep. So yeah, but I feel like this is validation though. I think you're pretty much decided on exactly what you are going to do. There's just this one last part of you. And again, you could be, well, I want to see what this is, because you could be breaking out of an old sort of, it's kind of feeling like programming or conditioning that could be very old, like from your childhood, a certain way of thinking or approaching something. Yeah. And it feels like this choice, for some reason, again, there's some level of predictability about this, even though it's not the good kind. I think you're just becoming aware of that maybe now. It almost feels like a cycle that you're wanting to break, or something that has felt very repetitious and, again, predictable, but shitty overall a little bit. And it feels like it's taken you from yourself, in some sort of way. So I'm not sure exactly what that entails, but this flies very much in the face of that. This side here. So what fear or wound? Okay, let's see. The King of Cups, control in reverse. Oh my. For a lot of you, this is a father figure here. But it could just be, it could really be any masculine energy that was it was a formative part of you. It's someone that was close enough to you to have quite an influence. So even if it was like a teacher, or I feel family though much more strong, or even a past relationship that you were in maybe. But this, I feel like, is a father figure for a lot of you guys. And it's someone who they're very disconnected emotionally, and it's a form of feeling in control to not ever be vulnerable. So there's like an ambivalence or a numbness that comes with that, because it's almost a pride in being, this is very much like boys don't cry, the patriarchy, long live the patriarchy. But it's that energy. It's like your dad being very much that generation, or of that mind and belief, and just being like, rub some dirt on it, son, like, but don't you ever let him see you cry, kind of thing. It's giving that energy. And I feel like this is a big wound, and it might even be mostly unconscious emotion bubbling up as like it's hurt at something, a big part of yourself that you had to repress, or that you were made to feel like you had to repress, or made to feel like strength was the denial of intimacy, or making yourself vulnerable ever. And the thing is, you still experience vulnerability, obviously, because we are emotional beings, but you actually become less in control by taking this approach, because you're not learning how to understand your emotions, and you're not bringing conscious awareness to that part of yourself. You're pushing it even further. You're creating that repression, and it is a wound, because it's an abandonment of a very important part of yourself, the rejection of a very important part of yourself. And it feels like somebody else rejected it and made you reject it in yourself here. And it does feel like a father type figure. But this created a wound, or a fear of intimacy, and a disconnect emotionally, or an emotional stunting, or even a fear of emotion. A lot of, ultimately though, confusion and lack of dominion over your emotions, not feeling sovereign in that area of your life. Okay. So then things that make you feel a lot, even if the feeling is good, would probably scare you or trigger you. So what support do you have here? The Eight of Wands in reverse, movement. Okay. I also have this that's clarifying it. It says, wow. Okay. This is powerful. There's something about Aries energy that might be significant here, but it says personal power. I encourage you to be the master of your destiny. Wow. This is really about you choosing you in a way that you have not felt capable of or strong enough, or it's like something made you feel small very early on because it disconnected you from so many really important parts of yourself. Or it made you feel shame or guilt around a lot of them. But they're actually very beautiful, strong elements of yourself. And I think that you're coming back into contact with them. And as you step into your personal power, you're reclaiming your vision too of what you want your life to look and feel like. And it feels so good. And I think that this choice, like option B, is in alignment with this. And I feel like option A is in alignment with this. And it might be what is acceptable or what is expected or what is known or comfortable. But I don't think that it's what you want. And there's definitely something about Aries energy and the masculine and father. Some of you have a really strong like Saturn aspect, like a very difficult one, like square, Sun square Saturn or Pluto square Saturn or something like that. Or you're going through your Saturn return, but there's something about that father, like learning difficult lessons around that masculine energy, the father, for some of you. But what support do you have as the Eight of Wands in reverse and movement in reverse? You choose what you give your time and energy to. From this place of personal power, you are the master and the architect of your own destiny because your life is your own. You have your own free will. And ultimately, there are people who can tell you what to do, but there's no one who can make you do anything or think a certain way. Here, your support that you have, this is an inner resource that you already have. And it's your own strength to say no, or just to no longer move in a specific direction because it's hurting you. So yeah, you have the choice. You have the personal power. I want to see what the book says about that. I feel like that might be significant. Hold on 1 second. And then we're going to look into up here, which is what choice ultimately aligns most with your growth and your integrity. We probably already know the answer here, but let's just see. I want to see about this. Personal power. Where is it? All right, so it says the time has come to rise up and take your rightful place. This medicine woman benevolently asks you, is there a situation in which you over-adapt? Wow. Is there someone to whom you cede your power? You run the real risk of not living your own life. You don't need anyone else's approval. Be bold with who you truly are. Develop your talents and act. Commit to holding aloft your values, peace, truth, and the planet's conservation. You're supported. Move forward in the full presence of your soul's qualities and validate your choices. Bro, you cannot make this shit up. Yeah, I mean, that's everything that that's literally a summary basically of everything that we've been talking about. So I can't say it better than that. This is about you walking a path that leads you home to yourself, that reminds you of the beauty, the intelligence, the power, the strength, the depth that you are. Not a path that deteriorates that slowly until you forget more and more every day who you are. At your best, right? This is what you deserve for yourself. Everyone deserves this for themselves. but it's still your choice if you're going to make that decision for yourself. And it's not always easy to choose yourself. It should be, but it's not. So the choice that aligns most with you is the 9 of Wands, resilience. Aries energy. Yeah, okay, so then there's this card, and it has, in the upright, it has like turning your brain on and your heart off, but it came out in reverse like this. So it's saying the choice that is right for you is not one that is going to ask you to shut your heart down and make a head over heart choice. This is something that is guided by your heart and soul. It's like you feel that this is right for you. And it's not something that you overthink and ruminate and take all the other what ifs and fears and doubts and other noise and chatter and opinions and influences into consideration and make your choice from there. That's not one of these things. This is a very important, like I said, the consequences of this decision, they mean something, they carry weight, and it's because it has to do with whether or not you are going to choose to be yourself, basically, in this life and live in a way that fulfills you or not. So it's pretty powerful. You know, no big deal. But yeah, it's kind of a big deal. It's coming through as a big deal. So you're meant to make this choice as if it is a big deal. Like take these things into consideration, because they're saying ultimately here, like the head and heart are a reflection of one another. And sometimes it's beneficial to go to the heart first and then apply what you find there to your consciousness, you know? Sometimes it feels like that's working backwards, but at times that actually is the best approach, because you can still see through the eyes of the heart. And there's a lot of very valuable knowledge to be found there. It's wisdom. There's a lot of stuff that your heart knows that your head doesn't, but it can learn from. So you're not meant to cut yourself off from that part of yourself. It's not one or the other. It's not the head or the heart. It's where is your head and your heart truly aligned from a place of personal power. Because the right choice, I feel like, won't make you, it's not something that makes you choose between the head and the heart. Again, it's like, you know, on every level that that's something that you want because it aligns with you, who you truly are. So that is what I see. But this, yeah, resilience, the 9 of Wands is pushing through. But the thing about the difference here, where this is what it gives you, the 10 of Wands burden, this is like being under the constant strain of that, which is the breaking point, but never recycling around to the Ace of Wands, which is source energy, like spirit, inspiration, passion, life force energy, however you want to see it, like breath, will, confidence, all of that stuff, creative energy, expression, however you kind of want to see it, it entails all of that. And with the 9 of Wands, it's like you are connected to that inside of you. You have a strong, like, this is why I'm doing, this is where this choice came from. And so then you can push through the difficult moments. And it's almost like victory is assured with that energy, because you're coming from the strongest place that you could possibly come from. So it's like, yes, you will get through whatever, because you know that you can, and you know why you're making the compromises you're making. You're putting in the hard work that you're putting in. You are rising to the occasion of the challenge. because it's giving back to you again just as much as you're putting in. And that's where that resilience, you're fueled. So you're poised for success here, even if things require resilience, right? Which I feel any big investment does require a level of resilience. If you want to build something big, something strong, something that will last and can be built on more, then, and something that can just withstand the burden and challenge of life, because the human condition has, right, both sides of the coin is the experience. So yeah, this part, like I said, this other choice, it still requires resilience of you, but in the best possible way. It's kind of like the type of path that requires you to rise into love, to rise into your potential, to challenge yourself, not in like a critical and self-judgmental kind of way, but to be like, no, like, what really can I accomplish? Why does there have to be a limit? Why can't I be however much of a badass that I want to be? I set the limits and I am the master of my destiny. So you hold the power here, and the right choice for you is the one that is going to push you to expand in all the right ways and just push you further into your personal power. But it's like making that choice is choosing to feed your personal power instead of let it dwindle away. So that's what I see. That's what I see. I hope that was helpful though. But I think that you already know, because you're in this, or you're coming back to this, or redefining this, whatever it is. Yeah, you already know. So I'm sending you lots and lots of love. I hope you're doing absolutely amazing wherever you are. Thanks for hanging out with me, as always, and I will talk to you again soon. Mwah. Bye.